What if I told you that Arsenal could be 17 points clear at the top of the Premier League by the end of this week, and that one crucial selection decision could determine whether the Gunners cement their status as title favorites or stumble at a pivotal moment in their campaign? Stay tuned, because what I am about to reveal will change everything you thought you knew about Arsenal's title charge and the massive decisions Mikel Arteta faces right now. Welcome back to WWE Fan Zone, your ultimate destination for in-depth analysis, breaking news, and comprehensive coverage of everything happening in the world of Arsenal Football Club. If you appreciate detailed content that goes beyond the surface-level headlines and truly explores the nuances of what is happening at the Emirates Stadium, then you need to make sure you hit that subscribe button right now so that you never miss a single update, transfer rumor, match analysis, or tactical breakdown. We are here every single day bringing you the content that matters most, and today we have got an absolutely packed episode covering training ground updates, injury news, massive transfer links, tactical decisions, and the enormous challenge that awaits Arsenal on Thursday night. So without wasting another second, let us dive headfirst into everything that is happening at Arsenal Football Club right now. Arsenal have returned to the training facilities at London Colney, and the intensity levels have been raised significantly as the squad prepares for what can only be described as a colossal Premier League encounter against Liverpool at the Emirates Stadium on Thursday evening. This is not just another fixture on the calendar. This is a defining moment in Arsenal's season, a match that could potentially reshape the entire complexion of the title race and send a resounding message to every single rival club that Arsenal mean business this year. The Gunners find themselves in an incredibly advantageous position, holding a commanding 6-point lead at the summit of the Premier League table, and if they can secure all 3 points against Liverpool, they would open up an absolutely staggering 17-point gap over the Merseyside club, with 17 league fixtures still remaining to be contested throughout the remainder of the campaign. Just think about that for a moment. 17 points clear with 17 games left. That would be an almost insurmountable advantage, the kind of lead that historically has proven nearly impossible to overcome, and it would essentially put Arsenal in the driver's seat for the title with their destiny firmly in their own hands. Mikel Arteta's squad approaches this monumental clash, brimming with confidence and self-belief, after grinding out a hard, earned 3-2 victory away from home against Bournemouth in their most recent outing. Now, it is important to acknowledge that this was not a performance where Arsenal dominated proceedings from start to finish or controlled every aspect of the match with their usual swagger and authority. There were moments of vulnerability, periods where Bournemouth asked serious questions of the Arsenal defense, and instances where the Gunners looked somewhat uncomfortable under pressure. However, what this match demonstrated more than anything else was the incredible character, mental resilience, and unwavering belief that now permeates through every single member of this Arsenal squad. They found themselves behind early after a defensive mistake, yet they did not panic, did not lose their composure, and most importantly did not allow doubt to creep into their minds. Instead, they responded with determination and quality, fighting their way back into the contest and ultimately securing all 3 points. This is what champions do. They find ways to win even when they are not playing at their absolute peak, and Arsenal are proving time and again that they possess that winning mentality. The timing of Chelsea's late equalizing goal against Manchester City on Sunday could not have been better for Arsenal's ambitions. That dramatic late strike at Stamford Bridge meant that Arsenal extended their advantage at the top of the Premier League standings to 6 points, creating genuine separation between themselves and their closest challengers. With Aston Villa also sitting 6 points behind in the table, Arsenal have successfully manufactured some real breathing space in what has been an incredibly competitive and intense title race. What makes Arsenal's current position even more impressive and noteworthy is the fact that they are now pursuing an 8th consecutive victory across all competitions. 8 straight wins. That is the kind of momentum that can carry a team all the way to silverware, the kind of run that builds confidence, reinforces belief, and creates an aura of invincibility. The momentum is unquestionably and firmly with the Gunners at this particular juncture, and Thursday night represents an opportunity to extend that winning streak and take another giant step toward Premier League glory. As Arsenal finalize their preparations for the Liverpool encounter, there are still several important injury concerns that Mikel Arteta and his medical staff are carefully monitoring and managing. Christian Mosquera remains unavailable for selection at this time. The defensive player is continuing his rehabilitation and recovery process from an ankle injury that he unfortunately picked up during the match against Brentford way back in early December. Thursday evening's fixture against Liverpool will arrive far too soon for his return to competitive action, but the positive news is that he is expected to rejoin the first-team squad around the middle of January, potentially making himself available for the Nottingham Forest match depending on how his recovery progresses over the next couple of weeks. Riccardo Calafiori is also set to miss the crucial Liverpool clash at the Emirates. The Italian international has been sidelined on the treatment table with a muscular injury and has already been forced to miss Arsenal's last 3 matches across all competitions. While there has been no official confirmation from the club regarding the full extent and severity of the injury, this particular game is expected to come too early in his recovery timeline for him to be considered for selection. Young midfielder Max Daumann is also currently out of action. The 16-year-old talent, who has been making waves in Arsenal's youth setup, is recovering from an ankle injury that was sustained during an under-21s friendly match last month, and his return date remains unclear and uncertain at this stage. There is also absolutely massive news regarding Liverpool's squad availability for Thursday night's encounter. Mohamed Salah will definitely and unequivocally miss the clash at the Emirates Stadium. The Liverpool forward was in action representing Egypt at the Africa Cup of Nations on Monday evening, where he found the back of the net in a 3-1 victory over Benin. That crucial triumph confirmed Egypt's qualification to the quarterfinal stage of the competition, which will be played this coming weekend. As a direct consequence of Egypt's progression in the tournament, Salah is now guaranteed to be unavailable for Liverpool's match against Arsenal. He has already been absent from Liverpool's last 4 Premier League fixtures due to his international commitments, and his continued unavailability represents a huge and significant blow for the visiting team. Salah is Liverpool's talisman, their most dangerous attacking threat, and the player who has bylaid them out of difficult situations countless times over the years. His absence removes a massive element of Liverpool's attacking threat and should give Arsenal considerable encouragement going into this fixture. Arsenal will be absolutely determined and motivated to produce a far superior result compared to the reverse fixture that took place earlier this season. Back in August, the Gunners suffered a disappointing 1-0 defeat at Anfield. Representing one of only 2 league defeats Arsenal have experienced so far throughout this entire campaign. That particular result remains fresh in everyone's memory, a painful reminder of what can happen when Arsenal are not quite at their best against elite opposition. Thursday night presents the absolutely perfect opportunity for revenge and redemption in front of a passionate and vocal home crowd, with the title race now firmly within Arsenal's control and destiny in their own hands. The Emirates Stadium will be rocking, the atmosphere will be electric, and Arsenal have the chance to make a definitive statement about their title credentials. One of the most substantial and heavily debated talking points in advance of this match revolves around the selection of Viktor Gyokeres. The Swedish striker remains Mikel Arteta's preferred first-choice number 9, occupying that central attacking position in the vast majority of matches. However, consistency in front of goal has proven elusive and difficult since his arrival at the club from Sporting Lisbon. Despite this challenge and the occasional criticism from sections of the fanbase, Mikel Arteta has continued to demonstrate strong faith, confidence, and belief in Gyokeres. His work rate is absolutely exemplary. His pressing intensity disrupts opposition defensive structures. His movement creates space and opportunities for teammates, and his overall contribution to Arsenal's structural organization and tactical setup have been significant enough to keep him in the starting lineup week after week. Gyokeres has frequently created space for his teammates to exploit, drawing defenders out of position and opening up channels for the likes of Saka, Martinelli, and Odegaard to operate in. And he has performed a crucial role in Arsenal's attacking build-up sequences, even during extended periods when goals have not arrived with the regularity that everyone would prefer. That being said, expectations were inevitably and understandably going to be elevated and demanding after Arsenal made such a substantial financial investment to secure his services and bring him to the Emirates. His scoring record at Sporting Lisbon was genuinely phenomenal, one of the primary reasons Arsenal moved so aggressively to sign him, and goals were naturally expected to follow with similar regularity in the Premier League. Thus far, that clinical cutting-edge and ruthless finishing ability has not completely translated to English football in the way that many anticipated, and this has generated increasing debate, discussion, and disagreement among supporters about whether Arsenal can continue depending on him in the most significant and high-pressure matches. With Gabriel Jesus now restored to full fitness after his injury layoff, and Kai Havertz also available once again following his recent absence, Arteta possesses genuine attacking options and flexibility. Some supporters are firmly of the belief that the Liverpool game could represent the perfect moment to rotate the forward line, change the personnel, or modify the balance and dynamics of the attack. According to various reports circulating in the media, Arteta is carefully and methodically evaluating his decision regarding who will spearhead the attack and lead the line on Thursday evening. It represents a significant call and crucial judgment, not merely for this particular match in isolation, but for the overall trajectory and direction of Arsenal's attacking approach moving forward into the second half of the season. Therefore, Arsenal supporters, everything is prepared, organized, and in place. The squad has returned to training activities at London Colney, 6 points clear at the summit of the Premier League table. Liverpool arriving at the Emirates without their talisman, Mohamed Salah, an opportunity to extend the lead to a practically unassailable 17 points. A huge and potentially season-defining selection decision concerning the forward position. What course of action would you take if you were sitting in Mikel Arteta's position? Would you maintain faith and confidence in Victor Gyokeres in the starting lineup, despite the recent struggles in front of goal? Or would you make the bold decision to commence with Gabriel Jesus or Kai Havertz against Liverpool, hoping that a change in personnel might provide a different dimension to the attack? Please take a moment to share your thoughts, opinions, and tactical preferences in the comments section below, because I genuinely want to know what the WWE Fan Zone community thinks about this fascinating selection dilemma. Meanwhile, shifting our attention to transfer news and market speculation, despite Arsenal's exceptionally strong position at the top of the Premier League table and the overall health of the squad, Mikel Arteta has not completely ruled out or eliminated the possibility of entering the January transfer window and making strategic additions to the playing staff. The manager has received a significant boost and lift from the return of key players such as Gabriel Jesus, Gabriel Magalhaes, and Kai Havertz, providing Arsenal with increased depth, versatility, and quality options right across the pitch in multiple positions. However, Arteta has articulated and communicated very clearly in recent press conferences that if an opportunity emerges to improve and strengthen the squad in a meaningful way, Arsenal will be prepared, ready, and willing to act decisively. Speaking back in December, Arteta stated emphatically that the club must always maintain a state of readiness and preparedness, because opportunities can materialize and present themselves at any moment in the transfer market. He explained in detail that Arsenal are actively monitoring situations, tracking players, and exploring possibilities even if a deal does not always come to fruition or materialize. This demonstrates and illustrates that Arsenal are calm, composed, and patient, yet simultaneously alert, vigilant, and ready to pounce. There is absolutely no sense of panic, desperation, or urgency, but there is thorough, meticulous, and strategic planning taking place behind the scenes. Now, let us delve deeper and discuss transfers in much greater detail, because there are some absolutely fascinating names being connected with moves to the Emirates Stadium. Real Madrid winger Rodrigo is once again being prominently linked with a potential move to Arsenal Football Club. The Brazilian international remained at the Santiago Bernabéu last summer despite interest from various clubs. However, this season he has been relegated and reduced to a significantly limited role under Carlo Ancelotti. He has started only a small handful of league games and has managed to score just 2 goals across all competitions, which represents a dramatic decline in his influence and importance to the team. With Arsenal positioned at the very top of the Premier League and Mikel Arteta openly receptive to new arrivals who can improve the squad, the connections and links between Rodrigo and Arsenal have intensified and grown considerably stronger in recent weeks. Premier League legend Alan Shearer has already offered his assessment and verdict on Rodrigo's potential move to English football. He believes wholeheartedly that the winger would flourish, thrive, and excel in England, and he suggested confidently that there would be absolutely no shortage of Premier League clubs expressing serious interest if Rodrigo made the decision to depart from Real Madrid. For Arsenal supporters, this would constitute an absolute statement signing, the kind of marquee acquisition that sends shockwaves through the footballing world. Rodrigo delivers blistering pace that can stretch defenses, tactical intelligence and awareness that fits perfectly into sophisticated systems, positional versatility that allows him to operate across the front line, and significant big match experience gained from performing on the grandest stages in world football, including Champions League finals. Elsewhere in the transfer landscape, Arsenal definitely possess names on their extensive target list and scouting database. One of those names generating considerable excitement is Elche wonderkid Rodrigo Mendoza. Arsenal have been closely monitoring and tracking the young midfielder's development and performances since November, and some astute observers and analysts have already labeled him as potentially the next Pedri, which represents extraordinarily high praise given Pedri's status as one of the finest young midfielders in world football. Mendoza would not immediately become a guaranteed first-team starter upon arrival, stepping straight into the lineup week after week, but he would unquestionably contribute valuable depth and outstanding long-term quality behind established players such as Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard. A reported release clause valued at approximately £17.5 million could persuade and tempt Arsenal to move swiftly and decisively before other clubs enter the race. Although competition from other major European clubs is expected and anticipated, given his exceptional talent and potential. Another player Arsenal are observing and keeping close tabs on is Rennes defender Jeremy Jacquet. The French youth international has been compared favorably to William Saliba in terms of his playing style, physical attributes, and overall profile, and Arsenal perceive him as a similar development project with enormous long-term potential. With injuries affecting both Saliba and Gabriel at various points this season, exposing some depth issues in central defense, another young defender with elite potential could prove sensible and prudent. However, Jacquet signed a new contract with Rennes relatively recently, meaning any potential deal would be expensive, complicated, and would require significant financial outlay to convince the French club to part with one of their most promising young assets. AC Milan defender David Bardesaghi is also firmly on Arsenal's radar and list of potential targets. Milan desperately want to secure his long-term future at the San Siro, but Arsenal are monitoring the situation very closely and carefully. Although Arsenal already possess several left-back options including Calafiori, Timber, and Zinchenko, Bardesaghi's profile, characteristics, and technical abilities fit seamlessly into Arteta's tactical system, and comparisons to Calafiori in terms of playing style make him an intriguing and interesting option worth considering. Arsenal's next 5 league games are absolutely massive and critical in terms of their title aspirations. Liverpool at home at the Emirates Stadium, Nottingham Forest away at the City Ground, Manchester United at home at the Emirates Stadium, Leeds United away at Elland Road, Sunderland at home at the Emirates Stadium. The next match against Liverpool at the Emirates represents a genuine statement opportunity, a chance to demonstrate to the entire footballing world that Arsenal are the real deal this season. Given the current form trajectory of both teams, With Arsenal on an extended winning run and Liverpool struggling somewhat for consistency, Arsenal will confidently enter the fixture as favourites. If Arsenal successfully navigate and come through this challenging run of fixtures strongly, picking up maximum or near maximum points, the title picture could become even clearer, more defined, and potentially decisive. Therefore, Arsenal fans and members of the WWE Fan Zone community, the message is abundantly clear and unambiguous. 6 points clear at the summit of the Premier League table. Arteta remaining calm, composed, and measured, yet prepared and ready in the transfer window. Declan Rice consistently proving his world-class quality and justifying his massive transfer fee. Rodrigo links intensifying and growing stronger by the day. Young talents with enormous potential being monitored, tracked, and evaluated across Europe. The project is functioning effectively, progressing smoothly, and delivering results. Please take a moment to share your thoughts, perspectives, and opinions in the comments section. Should Arsenal sign someone in January to add even more quality and depth, or should they trust and back the existing squad to finish the job? Would you enthusiastically welcome Rodrigo at the Emirates, or do you have reservations about the transfer? In additional breaking news, Borussia Dortmund winger Karim Adeyemi is rapidly emerging as one of Arsenal's most talked about, discussed, and analyzed attacking targets for the upcoming transfer windows. According to multiple reports from reliable sources, Adeyemi actually prefers a move to Arsenal over Manchester United if he makes the decision to depart from Dortmund. The 23-year-old German international is currently under contract at Signal Iduna Park until 2027 and is valued by the club at approximately £75 million, which represents a substantial but not unreasonable investment for a player of his age and potential. Dortmund are now believed to be receptive and open to selling him, with an exit expected and anticipated at the conclusion of the current season. Adeyemi has consistently been highly rated, praised, and celebrated for his explosive pace that can terrorize defensive lines, his direct running style that commits defenders and creates space, and his ability to stretch defenses vertically and horizontally. Arsenal perceive him as an absolutely perfect fit for Mikel Arteta's tactical system, especially in wide attacking areas where speed, movement, and intelligent positioning are crucial components of the team's offensive strategy. What is particularly interesting and noteworthy is that Adeyemi has previously declined and turned down opportunities to leave Dortmund, genuinely believing that remaining in Germany was optimal and best for his continued development as a player. That thinking and mentality now appears to be shifting and changing significantly. Reports also suggest that Manchester United are interested and monitoring the situation, but Adeyemi is apparently not convinced or persuaded by their current sporting project, their lack of Champions League football, and the overall instability at Old Trafford. Arsenal's stability both on and off the pitch, their attractive and progressive style of play, and their genuine title challenge make them a far more attractive, appealing, and desirable destination for ambitious players. That being said, Arsenal are extremely unlikely to make any move in the January transfer window. The club firmly believes the current squad is sufficiently strong, deep, and talented enough to compete for major trophies this season, meaning any serious pursuit and concrete move for Adeyemi is substantially more likely to occur in the summer transfer window when Arsenal can plan more comprehensively. Another absolutely huge name being prominently linked with Arsenal is Real Madrid winger Rodrigo. According to various Spanish reports from sources close to both clubs, Mikel Arteta wants to refresh, revitalize, and strengthen his wing options, and Rodrigo features very high on the list of potential targets. Arsenal are reportedly willing and prepared to offer around €60 million to secure his signature, but competition is fierce, intense, and multifaceted. Saudi Arabian club Al Hilal are also pushing aggressively and persistently, and they could potentially offer a substantially and dramatically higher salary package that European clubs simply cannot match due to financial fair play constraints. Rodrigo is believed to be genuinely unhappy and frustrated with his reduced role and limited opportunities at Real Madrid under Carlo Ancelotti, and he is actively considering a change of representation and agency, which has significantly increased speculation surrounding a potential exit from the Spanish capital. For Arsenal, acquiring Rodrigo would constitute an absolute statement signing that would send reverberations throughout European football. He possesses the ability and versatility to perform effectively across the entire front line, boasts extensive Champions League experience competing at the highest level, and would immediately elevate and raise the overall quality level of the squad. However, a January deal would be extremely difficult, complicated, and challenging to negotiate and complete. If anything materializes and happens, it is substantially more likely to occur as a summer move, when there is more time to negotiate and structure the deal appropriately. Juventus attacker Kenan Yildiz has also been mentioned and discussed as a potential Arsenal target worth monitoring. The 20-year-old Turkish talent has already accumulated over 100 senior appearances despite his young age and is considered and regarded as one of Europe's most exciting, dynamic, and promising young attackers with enormous potential for future growth. In midfield positions, Arsenal continue to closely monitor and track Lenny Yaro. The teenage sensation has genuinely impressed with his mature and composed performances in France, and he is viewed primarily as a long-term target and investment rather than an immediate January signing who would step straight into the first team. Several top clubs across Europe are watching his development with keen interest, including Paris Saint-Germain, Manchester United, Chelsea, and Liverpool. Arsenal perceive him as a future midfield option who could steadily grow, develop, and mature under Arteta's coaching and tactical system over an extended period of time, rather than being thrust immediately into high-pressure first-team action. Mikel Arteta has publicly and openly confirmed in press conferences that Arsenal are actively exploring opportunities and looking closely in the transfer market at various targets and situations. However, he has also made it abundantly and crystal clear that the club will only make a move and commit resources if the right opportunity presents itself naturally. With Arsenal sitting 6 points clear at the very top of the league and already safely qualified for the Champions League round of 16 knockout stages, there is absolutely no panic, anxiety, or desperation inside the club hierarchy. Any January signing must add genuine, meaningful, and substantial value without disrupting the delicate balance, chemistry, and harmony of the current squad. Arsenal now face an absolutely crucial and potentially season-defining run of fixtures, including major matches against direct title rivals. Arteta and his players fully recognize and understand that squad depth, physical fitness levels, and mental fortitude will ultimately decide and determine the season's outcome. That is precisely why Arsenal are adopting a calm, measured, and composed approach in the transfer market. They are planning intelligently, strategically, and rationally rather than emotionally, impulsively, or desperately. Therefore, Arsenal fans and valued members of the WWE Fan Zone community, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Would you enthusiastically sign Ademi if the opportunity arose? Would you advocate going all in and committing substantial resources for Rodrigo? Or should Arsenal simply trust and back the current squad to complete the job and deliver silverware? Make sure you subscribe to WWE Fan Zone for daily Arsenal news, comprehensive transfer updates, tactical analysis, and everything else you need to stay informed about your football club. In other significant news, the Gunners commence the calendar year 2026 with a hard-fought, gritty, and character-filled 3-2 victory away from home at Bournemouth. Once again, they demonstrated and showcased the winning mentality of a team that truly believes in their abilities and refuses to accept defeat. With Arsenal playing their fixture before Manchester City competed this particular weekend, this match represented a huge and valuable opportunity to apply maximum pressure at the very top of the table and potentially open up an even larger gap. However, proceedings did not commence well or according to plan. A risky and ambitious pass from Gabriel Magalhaes across the edge of his own defensive area was unfortunately intercepted by Bournemouth striker Evan Nilsson, who calmly and composedly rolled the ball into an empty net to give the home team an early lead and put Arsenal on the back foot. However, Gabriel responded in the absolute best possible manner, demonstrating tremendous mental strength and character. From the resulting pressure and sustained attacking play, Gabriel Martinelli saw his goal-bound effort blocked heroically on the line by a defending player, and Gabriel Magalhaes was perfectly positioned at the far post to smash the ball powerfully into the roof of the net and restore parity at 1 goal apiece. Despite achieving the equalizer and getting back on level terms, Arsenal struggled somewhat to control and dominate the game during the opening 45 minutes. Bournemouth were energetic, aggressive, brave, and tactically disciplined, making life extremely difficult for the visitors. Even so, there was always an underlying sense and feeling that Arsenal would eventually discover another gear, elevate their performance level, and assert their superior quality, and they did not require an extended period of time to do exactly that. Just minutes into the second half following the interval, a sharp, incisive, and brilliantly executed attacking move concluded with Martin Odegaard intelligently picking out Declan Rice on the edge of the penalty area. And Rice swept the ball confidently and clinically home to give Arsenal the lead for the first time in the match. Mikel Arteta then made a triple substitution, introducing fresh legs just over 20 minutes from the final whistle, and the changes altered and transformed the game immediately and dramatically, allowing Arsenal to see out the victory more comfortably. After the final whistle, Declan Rice summarized the performance perfectly and eloquently. He emphasized that the team must continue building momentum, maintain the correct mentality and mindset, keep pushing forward relentlessly, and he stressed that Arsenal are currently in a genuinely excellent position in the title race. Off the pitch, there is even more positive and encouraging news for Arsenal supporters to celebrate. Jurrien Timber is rapidly closing in on signing a new long-term contract, with the club fully prepared and ready to reward him handsomely with a significant salary increase after successfully establishing himself as one of the Premier League's top-performing and most consistent fullbacks this season. Sporting director Edu Gaspar is prioritizing squad stability, continuity, and securing the futures of key players as a fundamental component of the long-term project. In the transfer market arena, Spanish media reports emphatically claim that Rodrigo is genuinely open and receptive to the idea of leaving Real Madrid during this January transfer window. The Brazilian winger has recently changed agents and representation in a deliberate effort to accelerate and facilitate a potential move away from the Spanish capital, with Arsenal, Manchester City, and Liverpool all closely monitoring his evolving situation with great interest. Rodrigo has struggled significantly for consistent minutes and playing time under Carlo Ancelotti's management this season, and despite recently ending an extended goal drought that had persisted for several months, he is widely believed to be actively seeking a fresh new challenge and opportunity elsewhere.